Hello!
And welcome to GTAAP.
Welcome back to GTAAP.
It's been a while.
It's been a year.
Yeah, it has been a year, huh?
Yeah, our last video was the prediction videos for last year.
Yeah. Well, we kind of have a new studio. Sure.
In progress.
Yeah. So we're hopefully trying to put out more content.
Let's not promise anything. We're here to talk about E3 predictions.
This isn't a promise show, I guess.
No. We hope to do more in the future, but let's just talk about today, which is we've got E3 coming up in just a couple of days, and so we thought it would be tradition to give our predictions about the show. If you've never seen a prediction show before, just feel free to look to, I think, that way, or maybe it's that. It's probably that way. If you're on mobile, then it's on that.
We'll put it in the doobly-doo.
We'll put it in the doobly-doo. Our previous shows where you can see just how right or more often how wrong we are. But we're continuing that trend by making a bunch of predictions. And we like to kind of go in a situation where we do like kind of a gimme, a one we think is very, very likely to happen. Yeah. One that might not happen, it's more of a 50-50. And one that's the, like, we get to gloat about it if we're right, but we're probably wrong.
We've got a few of those. Not many, but a few.
Yeah, we've done a few hard ones. So we're going to kind of go in the order that the press conferences...
By the presentations.
Yeah, E3 is weird this year.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell that we're sort of running out of steam on the current console cycle, but not yet ready to talk about the next one yet. Yeah. So it's kind of a weird in-between year. 2012 for E3 was kind of this same exact energy where we knew the new consoles, like people were getting dev kits, they were working on them, but they weren't ready to announce anything, and the publishers weren't ready to step away from their current consoles.
Yeah. It's also weird too because once finally, or I shouldn't say finally, it's Sony stepped away from doing anything.
Yeah.
So one of the pillars is gone. EA's not really doing a press conference per se, so it's just a little odd because there's not as many things to really talk about as in years previous. So
yeah, and I tell you what, let's start there. So EA starts their EA Play event the Friday before E3, and it goes on through Sunday, and they're expected to sprinkle their live stream content with new information. So like one of the things we're expecting is the fact that like any new game announcements or mode announcements or DLC will probably come along somewhere. I put it like Nintendo does their Treehouse streams where they announce games like Metroid Samus Returns was just during that. Yeah. I feel to be that same kind of energy throughout EA is just they'll be every once in a while mentioning something they're bringing to bear.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. The first one I have, I think, is it's not exactly a gimme, but like we're going to hear more details about Star Wars Fallen Order, their Jedi game. Which I was very lucky to be at Star Wars Celebration for the announcement of that, and I got super hyped up. But the one thing they didn't show us, which is what we're expecting for E3, is what is it?
Yeah, I mean, they came off that moving poster kind of thing that had like the lightsaber that was kind of...
And the sizzling reel they showed at Celebration was just this excitement of like, okay, it's the dark times, you're a former Padawan who's just out on his own, trying to hide... it talked a lot about like "Don't stand out" was sort of like the tagline going into it.
It almost was like an Assassin's Creed in Star Wars universe if you took away the killing aspect of it. Like that kind of whole hiding in the shadows, hiding amongst normal people
trying to just make your way in the galaxy and trying to blend in. So what I'm kind of giving as my gimme is I'm expecting to be a third-person action game, and I'm very hopeful that it's going to be in the vein of like Assassin's Creed. Yeah. It's going to get like a little bit of that social stealth of like blending into a crowd to avoid stormtrooper like stuff coming by you, punctuated by action sequences or infiltrations or things where you have to do the action stuff.
I can see having a cool morality system of you use your powers for good or do you try to survive. Like,
well, I think like the way I expect that it will be very much like, do you use your power to aid others even though it makes it worse for you? Or do you do selfish things to just make your life easier? And maybe it's for all the right reasons, but like to hide, I let those people get captured instead of me. Like, and I think I don't think it'll be open world. I think they would have announced that by now if it was. My guess is it's more like I don't know, this the only one that pops in my head is like Rage, the original Rage, where it was open world-ish. Yeah. It was like these hubs and areas that were connected by a place. So I expect like you probably maybe get a starship and you can connect to the different places where you have activities.
Like with the second Lord of the Rings
Oh yeah. Mordor kind of had that where there was an open world, but it wasn't meant to be like a GTA style open world. It was just meant to be the places you went were connected by places you traveled.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm hoping for.
Cool. I think this is an easy gimme. Honestly, we're gonna get a roadmap for Apex Legends. They're gonna go through talking about the new DLC they're coming out with. I'm sure there's gonna be some kind of partnership with somebody. I think they're gonna try to do the Fortnite thing where maybe they're trying to bring more media, exactly, things like that. And then new characters who are coming and things of that nature. Because as strong as it came out, it kind of petered out, and they kind of need to give the little kick.
Yeah, it's still doing fine. It's just that energy. Here's the first Fortnite killer. It is not going to be the Fortnite killer. It's its own beast. And I think people who are like more Call of Duty players, Team Fortress players, I think that's who kind of got hooked. And I think those are the people you need to keep while attracting more people from the other walks. Okay, so then I said that for my next one, unsurprisingly, is connected to my first one, which is I expect that Fallen Order is not the only Star Wars game announced this year.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised this will be a Star Wars 13 situation where the announcement is like totally for the next generation consoles. It's not coming out for 2 years. But at Celebration, when they announced single player, no loot boxes, no microtransactions, no multiplayer, this is a story-driven Star Wars game, the energy that came out of the room from just, oh my gosh, EA can make those, was so exciting that I think it kind of helped clean away the tarnish EA's had for Battlefront. And I'm going to suspect before Disney stares them down and asks them, like, again, why do you have the license when you don't do anything with it? I think they'll at least throw one more crowd pleaser kind of Star Wars announcement.
You think they'll have any kind of like tie-in for the KOTOR movie that's rumored now?
Maybe, but I don't think it would be direct. It'll be like how when Dark Knight, the Batman game, came out, they had Arkham Asylum, and it was posed to be at the same time, but it obviously wasn't a direct tie-in.
Gotcha.
So that was my kind of extra one.
All right. For me, I think so. This has actually been kind of the darling that they've had of a few things. Hazelight Studios.
No.
You will want to start talking about. So they made the games A Way Out.
A Way Out.
And they also made Tale of Two Brothers.
Yes.
So they're kind of like this almost EA indie darling kind of thing. Especially A Way Out was very popular. Especially with like streamers and stuff like that.
I don't know if it did much out of that, but it was made a good splash.
Really cool co-op game.
And Brothers, I heard, is coming out for Switch, so that's kind of back in the top.
So my prediction is, I think they're going to have a new game by them.
Okay.
I think they're going to show off something. I think it'll probably be about a year before it comes out, kind of the same way Way Out was. Kind of pushed out a bit.
It'd be really cool, even if they just released A Way Out. Like one thing I think that was cool about A Way Out that I don't know if enough people saw, and if Brothers goes to Switch, I'd be like, Way Out on Switch would be really cool because you could have two people in the same room doing that split screen. Kind of, that would be cool.
Yeah, so I'm predicting that they're going to come out, I guess, a new IP, I guess is what it would be, but Hazelight Studios themselves will have something to show.
My hard mode prediction is basically something that, the reason I don't expect it is I do expect it eventually, but it may be too soon, but I'd like to see them. I expect that there'll be another EA partners kind of thing. I think it's about that time in the cycle where EA's been kicked around as an evil corporate monolith for so long. It's time for them to partner with a bunch of interesting studios, give them a lot of money to make interesting games before about 5 years from now they say, well, that partnership didn't work out and we're focusing on our core franchise and cancel like half those projects. They've been doing this for the last like 15 years, like clockwork every 5 years.
That's true.
For every Unraveled, there was the 3 times that Mirror's Edge 2 was canceled. Like, it's what they do. But they're always exciting when they are doing the partners kind of thing.
And I think they've been better in the last couple of years. They've been showing a lot more of that indie side of them. Showing like some cool games here and there with that. But of course, they're always going to have FIFA. You're always going to have Madden. But I think doing a broader partnership definitely would be something.
I think the thing about it is EA gets kicked around a lot, but EA's a monolithically large company, and they do a lot of cool things inside there. I think the reason they get so kicked is they're super dependent on their FIFA and Madden and these brands, which are kind of powered by loot boxes, which kind of leads to almost all their projects having the shareholders and the people who think they're working for their shareholders thinking everything has to follow that model. And again, you have things like there's an Unraveled 2. If EA was as evil as we make them out, that shouldn't exist. So again, it's just every once in a while they need to shine up their brand as it gets more and more tarnished.
Yeah, definitely. My hard one, it's not going to happen. But I know you would like it more than likely. Is I think it's about time we reboot the Dead Space series.
God, yes.
I think we're kind of hitting the point where the uncool zombie game is gone, and we're kind of ready for cool zombie games again. And Dead Space was always one of the coolest zombie games.
And the thing about Dead Space is, Dead Space, you just need to go back to its roots, because 3 is like the poster child for loot boxes screwing something up. And also that series just crept. It didn't jump to it, but it crept to be more action-y. And that last Dead Space felt more like some Lost Child of the Lost Planet series than it did Dead Space.
Yeah.
And my former roommate was just watching, he watches a streamer, I can't remember their name, but who was playing through the original Dead Space. And I was just gushing about how much I loved that game and how it was such a great modern successor to the Resident Evil style. And after the success of Resident Evil 2, you could go back to just that mold. It plays. Survival horror works now.
And I could see it being a really easy, just dark screen. The helmet with the 3 slits turns on and just turns off, and then coming soon. Something as simple as that.
Just Dead Space coming soon.
Exactly. Yeah, I could see something like that.
And there's a lot more legs in that series. They could go further.
Absolutely. Oh, and the thing is, you could change up the characters. It doesn't.
It's all you need to do is just move away from Isaac Clarke. Isaac Clarke was awesome, but even though they made him a great character in 2, and that sort of filtered in 3, like that world is so neat and ripe for that kind of sort of story happening over and over again.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, so that's like Friday through Sunday. On Sunday, the night, 2 nights, I guess, before E3. We always forget that, like, Sunday's not actually when E3 starts, but the press conferences start, including Microsoft. So Microsoft was kind of the next one on the hit list. And my easy prediction is they announced new Xbox hardware.
Yeah.
Now, that could be the next Xbox, which is why I say it's easy mode. Or it could just be more of these discless consoles that they've been talking about. They've released is it just the discless S? Does it have a special name? They've announced that.
They announced that.
They announced that that's officially a thing. Because I think the new Fortnite bundle, the purple one, is built out of that. But I think you're going to hear about the fact of like, hey, there's new hardware. We're refreshing the Xbox One. We're refreshing them for their sort of debut going into the back, and just to let you know, all of our Xboxes are prepared for the future streaming service. You'll be able to get some of that experience on those Xbox hardware. So that's my easy.
Cool. My easy one, and it's something they announced last year, but they didn't really show much of. I don't think they showed anything last year. I think about it. Battletoads.
Oh gosh,
they had that kind of like quick little thing. Yeah, exactly.
And
then they didn't show anything.
And admittedly, I think they said like coming in 2020.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They told you that you weren't going to get anything more about that for a while, but it's been a while.
Yeah, I think we'll get like a little trailer, shows a little bit of gameplay. It wouldn't surprise me if it has like a quick little demo on stage.
Sure.
With it, because that is one of their own IPs that they own, but. It's been a year.
I think that connects to my hard mode.
Yeah,
I think I have my hard mode prediction. I'll get to that in a second.
But yeah, Battletoads. I mean, it's right there. I mean,
it's a gimme. It's a nice thing to have. Just cranking up my first prediction to hard mode is I think they are going to unveil fully the new Xbox. That they are going to talk about what the future of that is, what that service looks like. They might not be announcing price. They might not be announcing release date, but I think they're going to really unwrap the console, just kind of like when the Wii U was announced like a year before it launched. They really sort of told you what it was. Now, people didn't hear what it was, but they did try to tell you what it was.
That's a tough example.
But the biggest reason why I think this is going to be a big unveil is I fully expect, and this is why it's my medium, that console will be able to be purchased before the next E3. That there will be another event right at its launch that will be like an Xbox only event to kick it off. And I think the reason is because I think Sony is not announcing anything this year because they're not there. and I think their PlayStation experience by December will be them unwrapping their console for the fall. And I think you know I know you don't agree with me, but I think they'll do the Switch thing where you release it in March or April, and the idea is your hardcore fans come in, they buy all the inventory, they get it started, they start word of mouth, and then by holiday you've gotten them out of the way, so you've manufactured enough consoles for holiday demand.
Yeah, I think that's more of a Nintendo thing though, because it's always the American business model, put out for holiday and just get everybody in at once, and that's kind of how it's always been. I mean, I think other than Nintendo, has anyone else ever released a home console that hasn't been in?
I was just saying, Nintendo, Sony did. They released their Saturn at E3. That's not a good thing to follow. No, I think the reason is because I think Microsoft, they're going to look at their next hardware as a soft launch. Just the whole thing. Because the premier service is going to be whatever Xbox Game Cloud Live is. And my expect is that hardware is just sort of like the big, the played best on. Or if you want to play it, not necessarily hopefully offline, but like if you want to play it locally, you want 60 frames per second, you want the best performance, you download the code to your machine. But most of your stuff is going to run from the cloud. That's going to be the focus. And so all the hardware you own now in your house for Xbox is probably going to fit into that puzzle. New hardware won't be as big of a deal, I think, for Xbox specifically this time around as it is for like Sony.
Yeah, I just don't see them fall in the same model as Nintendo for something like that. Like for release launch date and stuff like that.
That's why it's a prediction. We'll see who's
right. So my medium one is, I think, the main featured game on stage. So the one they take the most time to talk about and everything like that. It's going to be Cyberpunk.
Oh, that would be great.
So I think they're going to take the most time with it because it's kind of the most anticipated one going in.
And if you're talking about a game that crosses the spectrum, so it's available on the new Xbox, and if you have the old Xbox, that can handle Cyberpunk. It's too. But what if it's streamed right to your existing box?
Exactly. So like, there's stuff like that, and I think also the reason why it's my medium is because they don't own it. You know what I mean? And honestly, it's usually they focus on their main stuff they show.
And they probably have a Gears of War 5. They might pull the wraps off of Halo Infinite, unless that's a launch title for the next thing.
I'm sure Gears of War Pop will be in there. I'm sure we'll have a
Gears of War Pop. I forgot about that.
We'll have a car drive on stage, and we'll get the new Forza put on like we always do every year. But yeah, I think Cyberpunk is going to be, because here's the thing: there's not the second stage for them to focus on.
Right.
There's no Sony there for these developers who don't have their own conferences to get that main limelight.
Right, and while there's a PC show, there's no real other showcase. It's not like Nintendo Direct, we're announcing Cyberpunk's 2077. That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So that'd be a great place, and also to focus on the fact of like, this isn't... And Microsoft's the perfect one, because they could say, coming to Windows and Xbox exclusively. Like, exactly. That's true. Yeah. My last one is actually a holdover from my previous year, but I bumped it up a little bit, and I think it would tie in if Battletoads is announced, which is the start of a little bit of the teeth coming to bear with Microsoft of a Game Pass exclusive game.
Yeah,
you can't purchase it. It's only streaming. It's only on the Game Pass. You can only acquire it that way. And the reason I say that is because I think it's risky, because at least right now that's not available for PC. Maybe they get Game Pass, but I don't know. At this point, I don't know if that's going to happen because they've been so remiss to do it. But it would be the first, I think, them setting the stage for the next console generation of, we're trying to get games that Sony can't. Because we realized the last, 2 years, Sony, that's what they've been trouncing us on.
Now, do you think it's going to be a AAA title, or would it just be something...
Well, your thing about Battletoads maybe says that would be perfect, because no matter what you do to Battletoads, that's like a $30 or $40 game. It's a beat 'em up in 2019. It can't be that big, but it would be such a crowd pleaser. It would be the perfect one to test drive that with.
What's that?
And it's something they can control exclusively without any negotiations. So that's my Microsoft.
So my big one, and this is something I've said to you, and I think with kind of how the air is going between the two companies, I think we're going to see either Miyamoto or Bowser on stage.
Nintendo partnership.
So we're going to see the Nintendo partnership.
And much like you thinking the console won't come out in the spring, this is one of the ones where I go, no, I just can't see it. My brain could not handle it. It was enough Miyamoto coming on Ubisoft stage last year, my mind hurting.
Because I could just see the picture of whoever's doing the Phil Spencer doing the thing,
yeah,
holding the Switch with Miyamoto on the other side, holding the Switch with Xbox Live
running on the screen.
Yeah. And I can just see that still image right there, and that being a major focus.
Yeah,
for everybody. And it's funny because it also ties into some of the stuff I have for Nintendo a little later as well.
Okay.
With that joint partnership, but it's one of those things that they're working so well together. It would be cool to see those walls broken down.
It is kind of cool to see the little kid brothers just kind of like turn knives towards the big brother of Sony.
Yeah.
Because gosh, they were vicious with the Fortnite stuff last year. It was delightful.
I mean, this goes all the way back to when PS4 came out. You know, how do we let you borrow games?
Oh yeah, no, they set themselves up for that. That would lead us to later in the night. We would have Bethesda on Sunday night. So I'll let you start. So we'll alternate a little bit.
So Bethesda, I think, kind of the easier one, and I don't know if it would be the same day or not. But I think Blades will come out of beta, and we'll get the official release date.
Oh right, I forgot it's in beta.
Yeah, it's still in beta.
They would have figured exactly how much we can screw you in loot boxes, and you still not uninstall it. We're figuring out that important information.
I could see them doing one of the releasing tonight kind of things, but whether they'll do that or not. But I think we'll get the official date for what they consider the finalized Blades.
Yeah,
we'll be there.
My one is a holdover from last year, but I think it's actually way more likely this year, which is we get a Fallout on Switch.
Oh yeah, I guess I'm not counting Shelter. I guess an actual.
But I mean, like a remaster of Fallout 3 or New Vegas, or in what I'd really like would be 4. But I understand that would take a lot of optimization. But I mean, they got the New Order on there. They got Doom on there. Like I still think it's possible, and maybe it just took another year of leaving it in the burner to figure out.
Skyrim in there. I mean, it's
yeah.
I mean, I think it's done.
I think they can. It's
and I think there'd definitely be a market for people. You release that $30 or something like that, people would rebuy it, and
it would be good for the fact that Fallout's brand is not as shiny as it was last year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Again, we play 76. 76 is fine, but like it's fine. That's all you can say.
Exactly. It's
adequate.
Exactly. Bethesda. I think there's going to be by normal one. So last year we had Andrew WK on stage for Rage.
Yes.
I think we'll have a live performance to go along with Doom.
Doom Eternal.
Yeah, because I think they're going to show some stuff with Doom Eternal. Whether that's like Slayer or like Mastodon, one of these really hardcore, old school bands playing over it with, it
would be really cool to just hear that. They just start with that lick and then they go to whatever song they actually want to do.
Exactly. I could easily see that happening because Andrew WK fit Rage so well. And it, like for that whole entire sequence, that was actually a really cool part of that presentation.
Killer soundtrack.
Yeah. So I
have a little bit.
I would like to see. Yeah, that's what I see. A hardcore band up there performing.
I'm gonna switch around my medium and my hard based on what's happened recently. My medium is gonna be that they announce a new IP. I put that as a medium because honestly, Bethesda haven't been doing that much. Like this year, I'm gonna expect they're gonna probably waste time on Elsewhere, their expansion for NSO, which I think comes out in the beginning of June. So I think it'll be out by the time it is, but I think they'll just be promoting it. I think they're going to talk about Doom Eternal, which is fine. That's a great game, but it's a sequel.
We're going to talk about Legends again, which is the card game.
I think we're going to talk about the roadmap for Fallout 76 and how we've heard you loud and clear, and here's what we're doing, which we can't fundamentally change the game, so it's not going to be as what you want. And I think that'll be, and then maybe some conversation about Rage 2. I don't see anything magical coming out of them.
Well, yeah, because I think they've already said that Starbound and Elder Scrolls are off the table. I mean, Starfield, excuse me, yeah. But it's funny because they said that last year too, and then look what we got.
Then they showed us the sizzle trailers.
Exactly.
For them,
so, but a new IP that'd be interesting, actually. I don't know. Yeah.
They have it in them. I mean, they've made them. I mean, not all were great. I mean, not everything could be Wet or.
Speaking of,
Wet was cute.
My hard prediction is bringing back Wet. So for those of you who don't remember,
which should be
most of you, or is most of you, Xbox 360 had a game that was called Wet. Mm-hmm. It was a third-person action game that had some really cool gun mechanics with flipping around.
Like gun fu. It was very
stuff like
slick.
That. Really cool game. I think especially today, if you stylize that up a bit, like give it some cool cell shading and stuff like that to it.
And the art on it was really neat. Mm-hmm. I think the only thing about it is like the actual action of the game was fine for the time, but like fine. It wasn't blowing people's minds. It was more the presentation.
It was one of those games where like when you say it, if a person who was really into the system at the time goes, "Oh, I do remember that game."
Yeah.
But most people have never heard of it at all. It was a cool game. I could see them trying to bring it back and kind of fitting that modern day shooter that they don't have, because you have your post-apocalyptics, you have your sci-fi, you have your fantasy. You know,
and I'd love to see some of that id tech, like some of them just kind of looking at it like, well, how do you make the shooter more fun? Because I mean, from what I heard, Rage 2 like benefits from that. Yeah. Like too much actually, that the shooting mechanics are so good that you just use headshots and never use the abilities. But
yeah, I think we're due for a reinvention of Wet. Yeah.
Yep. So my last one is I switched around is Starfield being shown.
Okay.
I moved it to hard mode because they specifically said we are not going to show that.
We're not going to show that.
I also just go like, even if that slips to the next console, how many years can that be out? It can't be that many, because Elder Scrolls is predicted to be out in like 2022, 2023. So, and my guess is that Starfield will launch next year. I really think that is going to happen, but my guess is it's going to be like they did for Fallout 4 or Rage 2. It's one of those, we're going to announce it, we're going to release it within the calendar year.
Is that the fanboy in you saying that, or is that the...
No, I don't think... Look, Bethesda is loved for one particular style of game. They make other ones, but they're loved for that one style of game. And now that they have 3 properties that are in that wheelhouse, there is no reason to not be releasing a new one of those like every 2 years.
That's true. I'll give that.
So that's mine. Is I really want to see Starfield. Now, speaking of hopelessness, let's talk about Devolver Digital.
Devolver Digital.
They are presenting the finale to their trilogy of press conference events.
That's how they describe it too.
Yeah, which will be in the same tent next to the Hooters in outside of the was it the Marconi Center?
Oh, I just noticed the Dave
the LA Convention Center.
I just noticed the Dave Lang Memorial
Auditorium. Yes, yeah. So if you haven't seen Devolver Digital, just go look. I'm not going to put it in the doobly-doo. You find that crap on yourself.
Oh my god, it's so good.
So Devolver Digital actually makes really clever, interesting indie game choices that they bring to market, and they do a good job of advertising. They themselves are sociopaths.
Oh, absolutely.
They're nuts.
Those are the guys who make Mecha Wolf, Serious Sam.
Yeah.
They've and some
a lot of their not the things they're publishing. Their self-developed stuff is in their grindhouse kind of weirdness. But,
absolutely.
I mean, was it that they were killing someone on stage last time?
Well,
I just remember lots of blood.
Well, one guy. So the first year they had the one guy lose his arm on stage.
That's right.
And then the second year he came back and with a snake from Metal Gear arm.
Oh, right. A robot arm.
And he killed the presenter.
Yes.
But then she came back as a robot at the end. They were putting her back to life, like RoboCop
Right,
style.
so we get to see the finishing of that story.
Exactly. So that's why that's the end of the trilogy.
I did write some predictions for that. So my first one is that there will be great new games that are published by them that are announced during this press conference. That's the gimme, but I'm just saying they don't have to do that. This doesn't require them to actually talk about new game releases. So,
so I only have one prediction. I figure if I hit it, I win.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So why don't you go through all 3 of yours?
Which, by the way, like I just saw a game from them that I definitely want to see, which is Gato Robo Gato. Okay. It's about a cute little cat that just keeps hopping in these increasingly larger, more ridiculous like mecha suits in something that I don't know if it's Metroidvania. It looks maybe like Cave Story.
Okay.
Like it's kind of an exploration, but maybe a little more shooter heavy. It looks really cute. It's a little weird that it's only black and white. It's very got that Undertale kind of look. Mm. It looks fine, but it kind of forces it to feel budget title. But anyway, new games. I expect them to have a very big presence of talking about how important the Switch is to their development, because they've been releasing their games slowly and steadily over there, and I think they've been seeing more success there than on any other platform, which makes sense. Indie games are thriving on the Switch.
Gotcha.
And then the last one is they will create a genuinely damaging controversy. They will actually do something that doesn't make it funny, haha. It goes like, that was too far, guys. You need to just stop and release press releases again.
See, all of yours are generally good, well thought out. Me, I think Dave Lang's going to come on stage and kill everybody. He's going to rise up from the dead, the ghost of Dave Lang.
The ghost of Dave Lang
will
kills
come
everyone.
into and kill everyone, including the robot hostess, the guy with the snake arm, whatever B footage audience they have, and whatever mocap guy keeps running out to drag off time.
An absolute grind out scene, just people getting mowed down, murder everywhere, and then at the very end, just the whole thing goes black. You hear like Dave Lang swearing as he walks off into the distance, and then it's, "Thank you for enjoying our games." Devolver is worth watching, even though it's going to be
honestly, it's
weird.
Each one of them is only like 10, 15 minutes long.
Oh yeah,
they're real short. Yeah, definitely check them out if you've never watched them, because if they are excessively violent though, so just be careful on that one.
Yeah, so that brings us to the next morning. So Monday, the day before E3, Sony would normally kick us off, but they decided not to have a press conference. I think that's.
I'm surprised.
Did you write anything about Sony? I did write some stuff before I really considered the fact of like they're just not going to be there.
I didn't actually write anything about them because I wish they were at least doing like a Nintendo Direct. Like if they were even doing something like that to fill a time slot, that would have been nice.
I think the honest thing is, and I'm surprised they're conceding it completely. They don't have anything. Is I think they would rather do a lot of their stuff at their experiences now because they get a really favorable audience. And last year, their thing was really cool to watch from home. Yeah. But every game journalist had a terrible opinion of it because it was apparently really bad to cover. Which I go, but that's not who's watching it. And I think Sony went, yeah, but you game journalists aren't the ones we really... You're here to experience the games. The experience of what we're showing here is for them at home.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was really cool last year. And it's sad that they basically gave up on that to just say, screw all of us.
I think it's because they also spent a lot of money last year.
I'm also surprised that, like, no one else stepped up to take that spot. Like I was really thinking like Google Stadia was going to maybe step in and try to have something. Not gonna be at E3.
Yeah, which is really they're like, we're going to talk about it this summer. I'm like, by summer you mean the second week of June, right?
I was kind of thinking maybe Capcom might make a comeback or Konami or somebody, but yeah,
not everyone could be a health club.
But
magnate. Well, I think I think like that's funny. I think the biggest thing, to be honest with you, just remind me of it.
2K.
Stadia is not going to be there, which means like I'm far less impressed that Stadia is because if you don't hear about Google because it's talking to people doing business at E3, then they are not serious. This is another Google. Hey, we put this tech together and we think it's going to be great. You guys will support it, right? Yeah, well, think about it. What are your APIs and how do we get involved in this? Get involved in what? Stadia. Oh, we already forgot about we made that.
This is gonna be kind of like the Ouya. Remember that?
Yeah. Because they came out really serious, but they got to cut the deals. Like they got it. Like making exclusives is going to be huge for them. But if I can't play same day and date some of those third party like Cyberpunk, if you don't have Cyberpunk the same day as everybody else, you screwed up. Yeah. But I just want to read the things I said about Sony. Was one, they have little presence, and I don't mean that in just the no press conference. I mean on the floor, you don't hear the PlayStation 4 really talked about as the big. Like you're gonna hear a lot more. Yeah, we're coming to Xbox. We're coming to PC. Yeah. Oh, and PS4. We'll be on PS4 as well. Like I see that them not being there is felt in more than just their press conference missing.
Yeah, I can see that.
I expect that from behind closed doors meetings, the contingency from Sony that is there leads to a number of more PS5 leaks, like just words about where the tech's headed. Are they more streaming? Are they more in-house? Like where does the future of Sony starting to point towards? Yeah. And then the last one was that I expect that right before E3 they're going to show some more stuff about Death Stranding. And I think you're going to feel that the end of this E3, my hard remote is that despite everything being said the other way, Death Stranding is going to be a PS5 game that might stream back to the PS4, but I think it's going to slip right past the PS4's lifespan.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because that game's easily 2 to 8 years out.
It's a nice gap. Yeah, I can easily see that. I think if anything, they're going to be there. They're going to probably focus on their VR stuff. because it seems
it would be
like
nice, but as
kind
far as
of
I know,
what
I don't even think they have a
stuff.
booth, which is really weird.
Geez, yeah.
Like as far as I know, they're sending people, but it's just for backroom conversations and maybe to show some closed room demos of some stuff they have.
Yeah.
So it's them being non-present is like really weird, and I'm hoping it's maybe they're just saving their money because it's like, well, we're gonna come back next year for the PS4 or PS5.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing.
But the one that's taking over the morning press conference, the one that's going to talk kind of that morning, is going to be Square.
Yeah.
So,
and I heard that Square is actually using the same building that Sony used to use.
So
they're not in the.
It's not
they're
like pre-recorded.
Yeah,
and
well,
stuff.
they're not in the Sheraton Banquet Hall anymore. You know, yeah.
Was that 2 years ago? I think last year there was a canned. It was like a direct. I think
something like that. Yeah,
that's cool. That means they must be really confident about what they have to have a stage
That's
show.
at least what I've heard. I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but that's
we'll find out
from what I've heard. Yeah.
So what do you have for?
So Square, my easy one, and this is something that's already been announced, but I think they're actually going to show some stuff from it. The Octopath Traveler mobile game. I think they're going to take some time and actually show that off with the success of Brave XVS and stuff like that.
I could see Square talking about their mobile strategy.
I could even see them doing available today. You know, because it seems like you can do that a lot more on the mobile platform than on anything else. It seems
right. Because as long as you get your ducks in a row with Google and Apple, it just shows up.
Exactly. So I could easily see them doing that, and I think that could be a really cool game if they can get the story aspect across. Yeah. So.
No, that would be good. My low level one is we know they're going to show more about the Final Fantasy VII remake, and my only thing about it is like it becomes more divisive because I'm not happy about it being the action RPG, but that's just because that's not for me. I'd rather have something if you're going to go that route like Crisis Core, and they're totally going Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 15, which is not my jam. But I think what I'm more talking about is the fact of while that already controversy exists and it's just going to widen as we see how actiony it is, I think you're going to see the fact that the creators of that game, they're going so far and in-depthness, they're changing all the mechanics, and I don't think that's where it ends. I think you're going to find that the remake is going to be updated for 2019, and while it has the same story beats, you're going to see some divisive stuff of like, oh, well, we didn't like that part of the story, so we changed it to this new one we're really excited about.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be bad.
And I think the way they're breaking it up episodic, which they're still saying, I don't see how they can't. And I've heard a lot of game journalists with kind of like a lust in their voice say like, yeah, it'd be really cool if it broke my expectations. I'm like, yes, but no one who wants that game wants that. As a game journalist, as a fun blip in your calendar, that'd be cool to be surprised. But no one who's been psyched about this for the 11, 13 years we've been waiting for it. We just won an HD remix of that original game. And everything's just going to get more divisive as we get away from that. And I mean divisive because I expect there'll be a lot of kids who are like, I never played Final Fantasy VII. It's too clunky for me to play on the modern consoles. I'm going to love this game. And all the old fans are going to be like, I don't care for it. Cloud doesn't even cross-dress in it. It's not my Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I hope they leave that part in, by the way.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, my medium prediction involves Final Fantasy as well.
Okay.
I did think we are going to see some gameplay, but I think Final Fantasy and whatever new Dragon Quest they're announcing, they're going to get equal billing.
Oh, I can see that.
Just because Dragon Quest is such a big game overseas, I could see the two literally taking up the majority of their conference with just those two games right there.
I can see that.
Yeah, and especially with Dragon Quest, I think we're up to 12. I think it's the new one. 11,
I think that's right. I think 11 was the last one.
Yeah. I could. It's such a big thing overseas, and Final Fantasy is such a big thing over here that they kind of like the first year when they had when they bought IDOS and everything like that. When they would do like the Japanese style game and then the Western game, and then they do the Eastern game, and then they do the Western game again. Like they're doing Dragon Quest and Hitman,
and let's be honest, Final Fantasy 15 was an unqualified success. It sold more than any Final Fantasy before it, and it is the best domestic one for us. So I wouldn't be surprised that like it also is Final Fantasy gets equal billing because they recognize that Final Fantasy is up to Dragon Quest's ability, at least internationally. I think it did well in Japan, but I don't know. I love the idea of 15. I just don't want to play it. I should watch the story mode YouTube supercut because I like the idea. My middle game is something that just kind of what you're saying. Like, oh, we're gonna focus on Final Fantasy Dragon Quest. I'm like, you have a stage. Please tell us what the hell that Avenger game you've been working on is.
That has been a big rumor a lot, and it's
funny
because I predicted that like two or three times,
and
I finally gave up on that.
2015, I think.
But it's funny that people are finally starting to talk about it. Like I've seen it on the bigger sites talking about it. What is this thing going to be? And especially with the movie coming out now, and they're not like we don't know where it goes from here. It kind of leaves them open to do something with it.
Right. And again, I could see that it's something unique or new, and that's why they're waiting.
Yeah.
Because I think you could see just in the Marvel universe, I could see them being post Endgame or involved in like what happens in between Endgame and
it's like that 5-year gap.
It could be the 5-year gap. It could be the multiverse. It could be a whole bunch of fun stuff because Spider-Man seems like it's going to be setting up. That might be multiple universes. We might be dealing with more than one Marvel U.
Yeah,
and then the other thing about it is I think that it's not surprising it's not tying into Endgame because that's sort of what Ultimate Alliance is doing for them.
Yeah, I thought Ultimate Alliance was more trying to bring the X-Men into the universe a little bit more.
But the story is Thanos and the Black Order. I'm not, again, it's not a retelling, but it's hey, you liked Endgame, this game is going to scratch some of those itches.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the Avengers game being announced and really unveiled rather than just a sizzle reel from X number of years ago.
My last one, I don't know how deep one this is, but I think the announcement of Nier Automata 2, I think it's finally going to come through. And it's not something that I think anyone has actually shown or talked about or anything like that, but it was such a cult popular game.
Yeah, I don't know how well it sold, but
generation.
It was very well.
I mean, it sold well enough.
Critical darling.
It sold well enough to be like re-released on newer consoles and things like that. So I have a
feeling,
feeling, I could easily see that one getting a secondary release, and then we get the big moon guy on stage again. Yeah.
I'm not gonna remember his name.
Yeah,
he's great though.
But yeah, I think it would be cool to see them do like a CG scene, with 2B cutting up a giant robot, and then just Nier Automata 2 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, nearer.
Yeah, Nier successor or something weird like that.
Yeah, Nier Second Story 4.0. My last one is a holdover because again, I think I'll bring this up every year until it happens. But with the Avengers game, hopefully on the cusp of being announced and released, like that has at least been worked on for 3 years. It seems like it should be through its development cycle. Yeah. And the fact that the Tomb Raider series has kind of run its course. Yeah. Eidos doesn't have a lot to do, and I think a great property they could work on is Deus Ex.
Yeah, that's rough. I love Deus Ex.
It's not as rough as Thief,
but the last Deus Ex did not sell all that
well. Oh, it didn't sell well. It didn't sell well at all. But I feel like with a surprisingly success was the Deus Ex Go, the mobile game.
Yeah,
I think the property is still useful. I think if you love Deus Ex, you'll probably agree with me. The problem with that second game was it went smaller, which seemed a weird way to go, and Adam Jensen was alive, and while they did sell that in the story, you had to buy that story before you could see why that made any sense. So I would like to see them move away from Adam and go somewhere else, but involve that, especially with like Cyberpunk, the market is ripe for more transhumanist, cybernetic stories.
Do you think that would hurt it, though, coming out around the same time as Cyberpunk, though?
Well, I think them talking about that they're releasing one, I think they have a good chance of, if they've been working on one, getting it out faster. And if not, getting it out afterwards and riding the coattails of it. Okay. Because Deus Ex is a very different flavor of that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But I think you could still ride some of that.
Okay.
But it's my hard one, though.
Yeah. Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
What do we got next? Ubisoft, right?
Yeah, Ubisoft's coming, and they've had some. I don't know if do you have the recent news in yours?
I mean, they've been kind of releasing little things here and there. I mean,
I was gonna say, like, because I did not predict an Ubi Pass, but that might be a thing.
Oh
that would
yeah.
Make sense.
I mean, that was a leak. It was the Ubi Pass. It wasn't a mine.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they've released trailers for new games, which my easy one kind of falls in with that a little bit.
What is it?
So my easy one, starting at we got the new Ghost Recon.
Oh, right.
It's kind of the successor to Wildlands. I think something they do on stage is they actually show the raid gameplay they've been talking about. So pulling more than one group together to
because they teased that at the very end of that trailer.
Exactly. So I think they actually showed
what the game was called. Was it Shadow Thunder or something like that?
I don't remember. What's funny is I just wrote down Ghost Recon because everyone knows what Ghost Recon is.
All I know is it's not something that has the word Wilderland in it, which was confusing because it totally looks like the successor of Wildland, and if it's not, people are going to be mad.
Yeah. But it's got John Barenthal in it, so it looks cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you show off that raid gameplay, and that might bring people in a little bit more because Wildlands was a cool game. I just don't think they showed enough of it to get people really amped up for it.
Sure. So a lot of rumors going around that we're I didn't put it in my notes because we're expecting there'll be a Watch Dogs 3. They're talking about maybe it's in London and stuff like that. Yeah, Watch Dogs 3 is going pretty up. So
I actually hadn't heard any of that. I'm one of like the 6 people who's played all of Watch Dogs 1 and 2.
Well, the rumors that were really cool was like if we said in London, and so basically the game would basically have no guns whatsoever because of London's laws.
That would be really cool.
And when you think of all the homemade weapons, let's say, from Watch Dogs 2, I think they could have a lot of fun with that.
And I can really see that punk underground style in Britain too would be sweet.
It would be a neat change to see CTOS International would be neat. But that's actually not my prediction. I'm just mentioning that.
Okay.
My mention is that because they're going that route, I would like to see either it could be just a re-release, but what I'm writing is a Watch Dogs game for Switch. Now I'm leaving that as easy that it's a Watch Dogs game, but I'd really like to see them do a game that's for Watch Dogs. Now I also said I thought they would bring out their own Assassin's Creed for Switch last year, and I was super duper wrong. And it doesn't seem like we're going to see Assassin's Creed until next year.
Well, we had Assassin's Creed 3 got released this year.
Well, I was thinking that they were going to make one of these new style ones, like how Rogue was, or Liberation was,
one of these like side style,
or PS Vita.
Okay. So, side question, I don't know if this messes with your thing. Do you think Watch Dogs gets the impactful trailer treatment that they've been given to like Division and the original Watch Dogs and like?
I think so, because I think Watch Dogs 2 sort of got Watch Dogs up on its feet. I don't think it's exactly as awesome as Assassin's Creed or Assassin's Creed 2, where Assassin's Creed was groundbreaking, people saw it was interesting, but not a whole lot of people played it, enough to get to a sequel. And then Assassin's Creed 2, everyone played it.
Yeah.
Like Watch Dogs 2 was a much more popular game, and I think that if they go one more step, Watch Dogs 3 could be a gargantuan franchise.
I'd actually be excited for that because, like I said, I've played through both Watch Dogs. I like them.
Yeah.
So my second one, I know you're going to chuckle at this. Beyond Good and Evil release date. I think we actually get yeah, exactly. He's a doubter.
No. Let me just. My medium's about Beyond Good and Evil too as well.
But I think we actually get a release date. We get some gameplay footage because I think that might be a little bit of I think that might be one of their anchors this year.
I'm giggling because my medium is that Beyond Good and Evil release date slides well into the future. So maybe we could both be right if they announce coming in 2021. We could both be right.
Yeah, it's good.
But if they say like coming this year or coming before the end of fiscal year 2020, like I will be wrong and you will be right. Or if it's like Beyond Good and Evil, we're really excited to talk about it. Cool, when's it coming? Soon. Then I will be right and he will.
So yeah, I
still think that's a CGI trailer and a bunch of design doc ideas. I don't know how much of a game is there yet.
I'd at least like to get an update of remember the thing they did last year where you could put in your own music and art and you could submit it to them and things like that.
With him,
give us give us an update on some of that stuff would be nice at least.
It would be nice to see it. The only thing I get with Beyond Good and Evil is I still feel that game is totally a bullet point in the prospectus for shareholders than it is a real game idea. And the reason I say that is, as a lover of one of my all-time favorite games is Mirror's Edge. And I wanted Mirror's Edge 2, I wanted Mirror's Edge 2, I wanted Mirror's Edge 2. And then when they made Mirror's Edge Catalyst, they're like, oh, we relaunched it, we remixed the characters, it's an open world game that it didn't need to be, and the free running is not as good as it was before. And it's like, do you know why people liked that game? And the answer was, no, EA's greenlit a Mirror's Edge, but they didn't want to make the sequel. And I feel this is the same thing. They're saying like, oh, it's a prequel. And I'm like, do enough people know that game that you're going to make a genuine prequel to that? Or are you just making your own new game, but you want it to tie in for fans? Because that's how Catalyst felt. Catalyst was a relaunch of the Mirror's Edge brand, and they were teasing me with things so that I, as an old fan, would buy it, which I did. No. And I liked it, but just nowhere near as much as that first game.
And that first game, I think, had a lot more style to it, too, that I think the second one kind of lost that on.
Yeah. Two's a fun game, but it felt like Ghost Recon Wildlands. If you love the original Ghost Recon, and you have no guarantees you will like Wildlands. Yeah. And if you like Wildlands, there's no guarantees you'd like the original Ghost Recon. They're totally different games at this point.
That's true. So my last one's a little weird. Okay. So get this. Did you know that Ubisoft owns the rights to a game called Grandia?
No.
Ubisoft.
Do they know that?
They do, because they are supposed to be putting out HD re-releases of them for the Switch later on this year.
That would be cool. Grandia's cool.
Grandia was a really cool game. Cool, like RPG style, cool games. My prediction is we're going to get a whole new Grandia. I think that'd be out of left field. I think that especially...
But this is the company that said Mario Kingdom Battle featuring the rabbits. So left field... They're not the kings of left field that Nintendo are, but they're like the kings of center field.
Yeah, I mean, and they did what was the Star? What's the one Star Fox on it last year?
Starlink.
Starlink. So Starlink was kind of one of
the
those
best Star Fox games since Star Fox 64.
Exactly. So I just think it's funny because I was literally going back through their catalog of games and stuff that they're getting ready to release, and I saw they own Grandia. Why? Who knew that?
Do they know that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would. It would be interesting to see them release a brand new version of that game.
That would be cool. Yeah. And I think that as much as Square just said oh, Final Fantasy VII, we couldn't make it a non-action RPG. I'm like, well, you're releasing Dragon Quest, you liars.
Yeah.
And Persona proves that there's a viable market for people who like turn-based.
Absolutely.
My last one is. I say it's hard, but it's probably not as hard as I think it is. But is a sequel to Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to release necessarily this year, but I think it's time to say, oh yeah, no, that partnership worked out real well. We're going to do another one.
Yeah, I can see that, and them expanding it out a little bit more to having Wario, Waluigi, having those types of games. Yeah, I could easily see that, especially because then they released that DLC that had Donkey Kong.
And then you just get Bowsette in there because you just want the internet to buy that game.
Lord, yeah, and they would too for that.
Oh yeah.
Can you have a rabbit Bowsette?
Rabbit Bowsette? Oh my God! Bowser took the magic crown to become Bowsette, and then a rabbit ate them and became Bowsette Rabbit.
Ubisoft, I'm still looking for my plush rabbit Donkey Kong.
That's so funny.
I need you to release that now.
Already.
It needs to be out. Now.
I didn't write anything for it. I will also say that on Monday they're supposed to have the PC gaming show. Now, it never works out the way I think they want it to. It's because it's more
it's more of a sit down interview with a lot of the developers and stuff, and then
usually they get details about games you might already know about, and a few little indie darlings. I think Oblitz was named there, but I didn't write anything about it because just pointing at the fact that's going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately it's too broad of a spectrum to really have.
And most of the big names in the PC space are having their own conferences, like BlizzCon.
Yeah, exactly.
And QuakeCon and stuff like that. So that leaves us with Tuesday morning, right before the doors open to E3, we will get our Nintendo Direct featuring our new hero and villain, which is Doug Bowser, who is filling the biggest shoes in gaming right now.
And if you guys haven't looked at his Twitter, it's fantastic. He plays up completely.
He knows what his last name is and what is relevant to his job.
It's fantastic.
And I think he's got a different energy than Reggie, but I think it's still got the quirky, fun tone.
Absolutely.
Let's just put it this way: if you said that 2 years from now we're going to see another puppet opening trailer with Doug Bowser, I go, that makes sense. For mine, the gaming I said was 2 brand new games that will release before the end of the year, announced at that Direct.
Now we're talking just brand new games or new IPs?
New games that we did not know about before that Direct.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, that's.
So again, that's in the vein of the Metroid Samus Returns. So no one knew they were making a new Metroid. Yeah. They said, yep, and it's coming out in September.
Yeah, and mine. It's funny is mine kind of ties into that a little bit. Is I said Animal Crossing gameplay and date, which I expect this year.
Yes.
And I think
even that wouldn't count on mine because they had that Tom Nook there's new Animal Crossing coming. I'm saying that this is literally nothing we've heard about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Animal Crossing will be your second anchor for the holiday.
I think it's
you have your Pokemon, and then you'll have your Animal Crossing. To bring people in. I think that's I don't want to say it's an easy gimme because they haven't officially announced anything yet, of course, for it.
Right.
But I think that's a relatively if they want to make some money, that's what they'll do.
Yeah. And then, new Animal Crossing seems like where they're going to go, and that's going to be obviously a new version of. And it's funny. People are like, I want it to be really different. I want it to be the Breath of the Wild of Animal Crossing. I'm like, and the people who like Animal Crossing don't want that. And all I hear is like people are like, I don't really play Animal Crossing, but I would if. I'm like, maybe you just don't like Animal Crossing.
Okay. If you just re-released New Leaf for the Switch, I'd play it.
Yeah, I know. Animal Crossing hasn't changed a lot, and I think that proves it doesn't have to.
Yeah, it doesn't really have to. Yeah, I mean,
you
release one per console cycle, and that's the one that people play, and
they don't change up Mario Kart and Smash Bros. A whole lot, and we love it. Also, one thing on that new IP, the Star Fox racing game, if that comes out, that does count as new because that never really was announced. That never really became. Do you remember that last year? Right before E3, there was this whole conversation of like, what? No, seriously, guys, what the heck is Retro doing?
Was that
Retro
the
Studios
thing
doing?
that they blurred the screen on a few years? Okay.
And people thought, oh, I guess it must be a Star Fox racing game, and then it turned out to be nothing. We've not announced nothing, and to be honest, I think it'd be dumb to release at this point because Starlink did so much to revitalize the Star Fox brand after the very questionable Zero. Yeah. My middle one, though, is it's the 50-50, which is really sad because it's what's keeping me 50-50 on this game, which is, you cowards, announced that the second special mode, you got Mario 3D Land and mother-loving Mario 2. If you don't have the Mario 2 tile set, I can't justify owning that game again. I already own it in Wii U. I get dozens of hours worth of enjoyment out of it. I really enjoyed building levels. Mine were all terrible. But the point is, I do want to kind of play it on my Switch, but I'm not going to play it if you don't let me build in all the 3 numbered games. And I understand Japan doesn't care about it as much. And that's why like I accept the fact we may never get the Game Boy tile sets that I want as well. But it's too important. It is too tied to the American and North American and European market. You can't ignore that game.
And I think you might have some weight because remember I showed you a screenshot when we were watching. So if you watch the Nintendo Direct where they talk about Mario Kingdom, when they're on the menu screen picking the different areas, down at the bottom they have was it New Super Mario Brothers U or
it's like special sets or special
sets that they don't really link with the other ones. There's an empty space next to that one that they're not showing. And I could easily see them doing, and a lot of people thought it was going to be like a Super Paper Mario.
Which would be fun.
Which would be cool. But I could easily see a Mario Brothers 2.
But the biggest thing with Mario 2 is we always talked about the biggest reason that I thought they skipped it in the first one, other than xenophobic thing that just Japan doesn't like us, was the idea that how do you have the radishes in that and make that work in any other game? But with 3D Land, they've kind of showed they're okay with having a tile set that breaks compatibility.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you could do that, do it with a tile set that people really, really want. Because the 3D Land's kind of neat, but I'm like, it's not different enough from New Super Mario Brothers to me because 3D Land isn't on its side like that.
I mean, I think it's different enough, but you and I have had that conversation before.
Yeah. Mario 2, you cowards.
So my middle one, I think we get the new Smash Brothers character.
Oh gosh, there's still, 3?
4.
4.
We still have 4 left. There have been a lot of rumors of who it's going to be.
Okay.
The big rumor a lot of people are talking about is the main character from Dragon Quest.
Well, it depends on your translation. It's either Eldrick or Johto, or the descendant of Eldrick or descendant of Johto.
I'm thinking no. I'm thinking two things are changing my vote. So between the partnership between Microsoft and Nintendo, and the 10-year anniversary of Minecraft.
Oh,
we are getting Steve.
Okay,
and we're gonna get a.
So you're hoping on the Microsoft stage that like Xbox Live is coming to Switch, and something from Microsoft maybe find its way to the Switch. Tune in on Tuesday morning.
Exactly. That's exactly. And
that would be a lot.
And this is a part of the prediction, but I can see them doing available now for those who have the Game Pass and stuff like that. I could see them doing that.
And those with Xbox Game Pass can go download a download code for for Steve in
well,
Super
even if,
Smash
well,
Bros.
even if well, he's available now for those who have like that pass. You can get all 5 characters.
Fighter Pass.
Yeah, Fighter Pass. Yeah, but yeah, I think people are thinking because Dragon Quest is coming as well.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going. Steve is my pick.
And Steve would be really fun.
Yeah,
I think they'd be really good, and I think that's also where a lot of the demographic around Switch is too.
And he would be a very different character from Joker.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly. So
totally, and again, the rumors with the Dragon Quest is like that. We think a lot of all of those fighters are guest characters. They're not.
Yeah, we don't think any more first party. They're supposed to be all third party characters.
Yeah, so that would be cool. I would be down with that. Since they're not going to do Bowsette or Waluigi.
No.
I don't really want Bowsette. Again, I joked about that fandom, but I'm terrified of them. Waluigi, though, next Smash Brothers, no excuses. You need to get him in there.
Crying in the corner somewhere.
My last one is just far-fetched just because we know it's not even close to ready at all.
Okay.
But I would really like to see whatever Retro Studios showed Nintendo, show us that vertical slice teaser video of your pitch for Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
It may be like the original Metroid Prime where you showed us a video that's the mood of what it's going to be like in that helmet, and it turned out to be like, that's not at all how it looked in the end. But I just want to see the vision for Metroid Prime 4 to just sort of like help us tide over the next 2 or 3 years it's going to take to make that game, / just get people excited about the Metroid brand again, because I think it's in good hands, but I think that was supposed to be a tentpole for this year that didn't pan out.
I don't know if it was actually going to hit this year, but I do agree. I think a lot of people were disappointed that it's not hitting. So, yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like to see kind of where they're at and what at least what they're thinking.
Yeah, like I said, just like a 15, 30 second just concept video, mood trailer. Mm-hmm. So that's, I don't know how like that is, but.
So my last one, they always have the little transitional videos for third party stuff, and I can see the announcer coming up and saying, and now coming to Switch, Capcom's best selling game of all time, Monster Hunter World. Finally coming over to the Switch. So
I could see that if they bring some of the Japan only streaming over. So in Japan, they're streaming Konami games like nuts. They streamed Resident Evil 4. They streamed what else was there? There's like 2 other games that they were doing. I think Dragon's Dogma is a streaming game over there. Now I think about it, I don't think it's been anything that like couldn't run. No. Resident Evil 7. I think they streamed Resident Evil 7, which is something that might not be able to run on the Switch.
No.
So if they did that, I could see Monster Hunter World. I think Monster Hunter World will be tough to get running on the Switch. It would be really compromised, especially the zones. It would have to go back to like maybe zoning or something.
Yeah, but I'd be interested to see them try to do it. And I mean, because you had the company who's done Doom and all that. They already said they wanted to take a crack at it.
Because I think they think they can do it.
Exactly. So I think.
I mean, you're still not going to get me to play it, but I think it'd be cool to be there.
I'm gonna get you to play it. But yeah, I think that would be, and it doesn't even have to be one of their big features. It's one of those little like I said, one of those things that slides in, it's coming, it slides out, kind of things.
It would be good to get it on that popular console because I mean, I still don't think it's going to happen. I think it was a flash in the pan, but this is the chance. Monster Hunter World did really, really well, and it's the chance of getting Monster Hunter World to stick in America. I mean, Tri did a good run on the Wii, and there was the last one on PS3, I think, which sold pretty well, but none of them were as big as Monster Hunter World, but none of them have got people to stop.
The ones for 3DS, I think, stuck the best, and that was just because the portable ability to, I'm sitting on the bus with you, hey, you have the same game as me, let's hunt real quick together.
Yeah.
Like
I think that cultural thing was just always missing in America, and I think the thing that's changed, honestly, for Monster Hunter is just the fact that Dark Souls and its ilk has made a whole class of masochists out of gamers. Well, no, I'm sorry. That's what those are. Those are masochistic games. Those are people who want challenge above any other value in the game, and that's fine. I don't mean that in a truly disparaging way. I mean that in this.
It sounded that way, didn't it?
No. People no. This is a classic thing in video games. You've had the bullet hells before. Mm-hmm. You've had RPGs that are extremely grindy and extremely difficult. You need to know what you're doing. More like the dungeon crawler games that we don't really play, like Shin Megami Tensei, not Persona, but the original Shin Megami Tensei are that way. that's something that people really enjoy. They enjoy the challenge of that. I think it is masochistic. I think Super Meat Boy is masochistic. It is you getting frustrated as hell with that game, but the high of completing something outweighs all of that. That high is so high you don't mind the low lows. I'm a wuss. I play games for entertainment value and story and character. At this point, I play most games on casual mode because as an adult, I give myself less time for video games. And it's not that I don't have it. I hate hearing that. I give less time to video games. So when I play them, I kind of just want to get the fun. I just want to get to the entertainment. I want to get to the next beat in the story. I've been playing every night before I go to sleep. I've been knocking out chapters in Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright, and I'm just using hint coins like crazy because I don't care. It's just fun to absorb a little bit more of that every night, and that's what I'm here for.
Do you think anything? You have predictions for like the show floor at all?
I think the biggest thing about the show floor is I think show floor is going to be just like it was in like 2012, where you're starting to hear we have this great game, we're proud to announce it, or we're showing it for the first time, or we're taking the covers off of it, we're letting you look at it, and everyone's like, oh, this is awesome. What consoles is this coming out on? It is coming out on we're coming to consoles. Oh, so not this generation then. I think you're going to see, it's going to be like last generation where, like, we joked, 2013, the message was 2014 is going to be a great year for video games. The message of 2014 is 2015 will be a great year for video games. And then 2015 is when people needed to go buy PS4s and Xboxes to be involved. Yeah. And I think you're going to see that same thing, especially with the bleed of, like, whatever streaming offerings. But I think what you're going to see is the targets have changed. The developers are starting all their new projects on the next gen. And so you're in that awkward phase where it's the stuff being kicked out the door that was already being built or is close to being done, or the stuff that's going to be straddling the line.
Okay. I'm thinking, and mine's a little bit more specific, I guess. I think Borderlands is really going to take over the hall.
That would be neat.
Because, when we were at PAX, we were at PAX East this year. They debuted Borderlands 3. And that was like all anyone could talk about. And on the day they did it, literally everybody had the Psycho masks.
Oh gosh!
And that's all you saw all weekend were Psycho masks and things like that. I have a feeling it's like they're doing an interview in the background, people with Psycho masks on. When they go, when they go in to watch somebody else's booth, somebody who's dressed up somewhere else is going to be, somewhere in the background. You're not going to be able to escape Borderlands, and I think that's going to be kind of their viral way of making sure people keep that in their mind.
And the last thing I want to say is my prediction for E3 as a total show is that the general enthusiast press is going to talk about, is E3 relative as loud as possible? And then they will all be back there. IGN will have a booth again. Sony will have a booth again next E3. Because it's just, there's no point in spending the money when we're in the lowest point of this console's promotional cycle as we ramp up to the next one. Because I remember 2012, them talking about, like, do we even need new consoles and all this? Like, yes, consoles need to come out approximately every 5 years. Last generation went too long, and it hurt the first 2 years of this generation. This generation is getting away with a longer cycle because of the mid-year cycles. That's why it doesn't feel like these consoles are ready to retire, even though they're old. Like, I just think it's going to be, we went into E3 expecting it not to be a good year, and we came out reporting that it wasn't a good year. Yeah, because you went in expecting it to be bad.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of exciting things. I think 2019 is going to be another great year for video games. Maybe not as high as 2017 or 2018, but then if you're a Nintendo fan, 2017 will be the greatest year in video games ever. It's up there with 98.
I think Nintendo easily has the best lineup for the year.
Yeah.
And if you're not a Nintendo fan, you look at it and it seems more bleak than anything else.
And I find it's funny. People are like, oh, Nintendo's not bringing out as many games. I'm like, bring out Pokemon. We're done.
Well,
they're going to win the console generation. They're going to sell more systems than anybody this year.
Bring out Pokemon. They bring out new Mario. Potentially new Animal Crossing.
Oh, this has nothing to do with predictions, but I'm going to throw it in there. I expect that if Nintendo does the available today, like they did with Fortnite last year, it will be Mario Kart Tour.
Yeah,
the mobile game.
Yeah,
because they're testing that in New Zealand. And that's going to come out. And people are like, oh, it's going to have microtransactions. I'm like, yeah, because none of you bought Mario Run, and all of you are still collecting your waifus in Fire Emblem. You taught them this. You did this. I bought Mario Run. All $10 of it. I didn't play any of it, but that's not the point.
How does it stand on your platform over there?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm excited about Mario Kart Tour, and when it tells me you've run out of stamina, I'll just delete the game, but I'll have had fun with the 10 seconds I played it for. Just like Blades. I started Blades, I did one mission, and I'm like, that was neat, delete.
Okay. So those are our predictions for E3.
Yeah.
Definitely check them out. Check out the conferences every single year. They always have some good stuff on there.
We'll be knocking the dust off of our Twitter account. We're not ambitious enough to film all the stuff or deal with the copyright strikes of filming all the stuff again. But we might have recap shows. We'll see. But definitely check out our Twitter at GTAAP Live. You can see kind of our thoughts as they happen. It's going to be fun. It always is.
Always is. And God, it's going to get hot and sweaty in here as we're watching every single conference.
Honestly, this place has better air conditioning.
There we go.
I got ceiling fans.
Ooh.
You guys turn them off.
Look at
recording.
that. Moving on.
Another fine reason why we don't record now, because I can have the fan on during press conference.
We are moving on up.
Yeah. Hopefully see you in less than a year. Bye.
See ya.